Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be showing off the brand new wizard new changes from the second round of the PTR changes. So starting right off, I want to go ahead and kick it off with one of the best builds. The Firebird build is still going to be one of the best builds, even though it just took a nerf. So what is the nerf? So you can see over on my Fragment of Destiny in the second set of orange text, it says Magic Missile fires 10 missiles and gains the effect of the Seeker rune. Previously you did 20, so they cut that in half. Now, they also did technically buff Mirror Ball, but you don't really need to equip Mirror Ball. Mirror Ball lets Magic Missile do more damage and also gives you more. However, it's not really required, as you can get more value by running the Orb of Infinite Depth to get more damage. But if you want to, technically the other orb does give you extra damage as well, but most people have opted out for it. But if you do happen to have the ability to cast your Orb of Infinite Death with the explosion with the chain reaction, it can be definitely better, and that's the more meta build. But basically that's the changes with this. It's still really good though. If you guys are wondering what is the best thing up on the leaderboard, Firebird is still number one at the highest clear of a 144. Previously a lot of the 150s, even including myself, we were really utilizing that storm armor, which was really overpowered. If you guys haven't seen it, that build no longer works though, but I'm gonna link it down below just in case any of you guys do want to check it out. Basically you can one-shot almost anything in the game with the exception of the Rift Guardians. It was insane. But there are also DMO builds that are pretty high as well, in like the 139s and even in the almost 140-ish range, depending on what build you're looking at. I really want to highlight Frozen Orb because that's kind of the build that I personally like, but I do also want to highlight another thing that has actually been changed with the PTR. So not only did we get a nerf with the Firebirds, but we also got a change with the Storm Armor, and you guys are seeing it right now. So how it works is Storm Armor charges over 30 seconds. Casting Storm Armor at full charge releases a powerful Thunderbolt, instantly killing a random enemy within 30 yards. Now, because it has to charge, at the moment, I believe 30 is the highest amount. Maybe there could be some really weird way to go higher than that, but it will one-shot things. Now, if you just activate it when it's at like a really low charge, it will not just one-shot things. It has to kind of build. I'm not sure if this is based off of a percentage or on the game difficulty, but that has actually been nerfed. Again, this was the way that a lot of people were doing GR 150s, but that no longer will be the case. If you want to get a group of multiple wizards and try to do 150s, maybe someone will try to do that, but it's going to be a very slow clear. But hey, who am I to say that it can't be maybe a way for some people to try out new ways to maybe pull certain like elites and then just try to one-shot those. Could be something that some people decide to do in a group, but overall, it's pretty much nerfed. I haven't seen anyone near the top of the leaderboards that use that ability at all, because it takes a long time before you could cycle between two armor abilities and just melt content. Now you guys are seeing the brand new DMO wizard. This hasn't actually been changed since the second update, but I'll give you guys the info on it because the build has changed up a little bit. But in terms of the legendary ability with the orb, what does it actually do? So you can see that with Frozen Orb, we're going to be able to gain these little orbs that surround us, and then we can explode all of them at once with a giant charge. So it's going to have these orbs, I bet, once per second, maybe a little bit faster than that, maybe like, I don't know what it's coded to, maybe like 0.5, but you'll see that there's these orbs around us, and we're going to be able to launch them. Once we use our Frozen Orb, it's going to launch all of them instantly. So you can have up to 4 of these come out, and then once you use your Frozen Orb, you're basically getting 5, but with Orb of Infinite Depth, you're having them explode each an extra time. So that's 10 explosions of Frozen Orb, which is really cool. So if you like to see massive amounts of damage dealt, this is definitely going to be the build for you. It is a little bit more difficult to play, just as a heads up, if you do want to climb versus Firebirds, and technically Firebirds is better, but this one hits really hard, and it is still super satisfying, but it's competitive enough. I mean, we're talking within like 5 GRs, which could be, you know, argued for Paragon difference, because the guy that's in first place has a lot of Paragons. But it does hit pretty hard, but you have to activate your Arcane Dynamo. You have to keep your 0 with the Black Hole with the Cold Rune. You got to keep a lot of things up, and you have to maintain good control over, like, you know, when you are actually doing some of these moves. So just keep that in mind if you do want to play this. But there's actually a new thing that has actually emerged, because you don't really need cooldown reduction with this build. A lot of Diablo builds are all about like cooldown reduction. You could throw in a Topaz in your helm just to help out with the resource cost reduction, which is kind of helpful for Frozen Orb, because it does cost a lot of mana. But in the newest update, the Guardian set actually got a nice buff, just with the 2-piece. The 3-piece is kind of a bonus for like damage reduction, but most people were running Captain Crimson's before. But now this is another viable option. This guy's also up on the top of the leaderboards. But what it does with the 2-piece set bonus is you gain additional 100% of your base strength, dexterity, intelligence, and vitality attributes from your equipped items. So what this allows you to do is basically scale and get a lot more damage with a lot of different builds. This goes with a lot of different classes too. It's not just the wizard that benefits from this, but because the wizard doesn't really need cooldown reduction with this build, it's going to be excellent for you. But that pretty much covers all of the new updates with the wizard. I'm curious to know how you guys feel about it. I really wish maybe Crown of the Primus got another buff. Mirror Ball could get another buff. You're looking at like LOD builds, which are kind of more difficult to gear up for. Firebirds is still overall better, so if you're thinking, oh, I want to play LOD Mirror Ball, hey, be my guest, but just keep in mind that it's going to be difficult to gear up for, and you might as well play Firebirds because it's relatively similar in playstyle. The other one, you do have to activate Disintegrate. So it does have like an extra step. You have one vessel to start activating the damage, then it deals the damage, versus if you wanted to play LOD, yeah, you can just magic missile your way, and you can definitely do T16, but like that's kind of irrelevant in this day and age. Mostly, I would say like GR100 is kind of like the little benchmark here. But the build is definitely pretty fun if you want to play this kind of as an elite hunter. I've also made a different build where I was kind of doing more of a speed build with the Crown of the Primus, which is a brand new legendary effect on the helmet. They actually buffed it up. You gain the effect of all of the runes. There are some people in the top 10 running this right now where it just, the slow time follows you. I like this a lot because what I've definitely noticed with the new DMO build is sometimes you don't get that bubble immediately, and depending on your situation, if there's too many things on the screen, you may not see it. You might activate and have all of your frozen orbs shoot out, and you don't have that extra damage buff because if they're not inside one of the bubbles, you're not dealing the damage. So just keep that in mind if you want to play this. This is definitely going to be better for speed farming. However, it's not going to do nearly as much damage because you lose out on the ability to have Black Hole to just suck up everything, which is so great, and then you get extra damage. So just for some feedback, in addition to you know, what I've already talked about, with the Crown of the Primus, I think you should not need to actually equip the slow time at all. Even though it gains all runes, it doesn't matter which rune you select. You still actually have to equip it in order for the Crown of the Primus to work. It's supposed to just give you all of the runes and have it follow you, but again, you have to have it equipped. So a lot of people, especially if you look at the top 5, they're not running it at all because you technically lose out on damage, and also Black Hole is just so good, just being able to suck up everything and get those massive explosions for your frozen orb, especially when you're going to run like Zaystones of Vengeance for that extra damage, and you can position yourself and time everything so much better with that versus not running that. I mean, you could drop what, Deflection? Can't really drop Storm Armor because that keeps you alive, but that could be something to consider maybe in the future for their updates. Now, I do want to also lastly touch upon Tal Rasha's. Tal Rasha's probably get another update. We even got a change where like Meteor works with DMO, but that's not really a thing that I've really seen in the top. There are some people in like if we go to like the top like 30s and 40s, but in the top 10, which I think most people would consider like that's kind of the stuff that they want to check out. Tal Rasha's needs a huge buff. I think just a multiplier on Meteor, or making it so the cooldown doesn't exist between different elements, or if you can do it on dots. There could be a lot of different things that you can do with Tal Rasha's to make it a lot better, or just make the multiplier higher, because that was something that did get buffed and kind of got changed here, but it's still not really a good build at the end of the day because you're going to have to spam your meteors. It just feels a little bit slower than the rest of the stuff that it's offered right now as Wizard. Pretty much, again, you're looking at Disintegrate and Firebirds with the new Mirror Ball. If you are, you don't have to use Mirror Ball, but the Magic Missile with the Firebird setup to actually become like competitive with it. But again, DMO is also very competitive. You can also play Twister DMO. That's also another thing in there. But anyways, that's going to be my thoughts. Let me know, guys, if you think Wizard should be changed at all. Again, for me, I think Tal Rasha definitely is a #1 thing that should be buffed. I actually have a really cool build of Chain Lightning that does use it, and if they buff Tal Rasha, we can actually showcase off that build again. It's a really, really cool build. But anyways, ranting now. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. If you're new here and do want to see, of course, the best build of Wizard when the season drops, I'll be dropping a full build guide, because right now I'm just kind of showing you guys what are the new changes with the updates on the PTR. And overall, Wizard is looking a lot more fun. And not GR150 yet, but maybe that buff with Tal Rasha will allow us to get there. But if you want to see more stuff, subscribe, turn that bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, and I'm out. Peace.